Hi, my name's Hayley Noakes, and this is the next online session in the research skills section. So you've got a research project that you're doing or an assignment that you're doing, so now you need to think about what type of information that you need. So we're going to be talking about actually finding that information, finding it effectively, doing effective research as well. So you could look at things like books, reference books, encyclopedias are different as well. There's nothing wrong with having a look up for definitions and what concepts actually mean in more simplistic terms before you go and dive into some more serious research. You might use websites. This largely depends on your subject area as well, and you need to be really mindful of quality, so avoiding anything that's got a .com, .co.uk address, because they tend to be commercial, so they're not based on science or real evidence, unless of course that's what you're looking for. But you might find things like .gov.uk and .org, so reports that you found from the government online or charity websites that are producing statistics. So just be careful and think about the websites you're getting these things, and also bear in mind the agenda of whoever it is you're getting it from. If you want to find some evidence for whether breastfeeding is the best way to feed your baby, there's little point then in going to find only research from the Breastfeeding Society of the UK's website, because clearly they're going to be advocating breastfeeding as the best way to go forward with your child, and you obviously want a two-sided point of view. And think about overview articles as well. These are called meta-analyses. So you can always cross-reference whatever it is you're searching for, so breastfeeding meta-analyses, and you'll find then that people write journal articles by overviewing all the research that is done so far on a subject area, and they often do like a factor analysis, statistical analysis, to see whether from all of these pieces of research is there any real evidence, or is it just like anomalies popping up left, right and centre. So try that if you want a good overview of a subject area. So think about the tools that you might use. So you've got the library catalogue, the ICAT, make sure you know how to use that to find books in the library, but you can search for journal articles on there as well. But there are databases that are specific to your subject area. You might actually go straight to journals that you know are recommended within your subject area as well. So the internet these days is essential to doing effective research. So you can when you're thinking about these things, it allows you to define your research topic more fully, and again, as mentioned in previous online sessions, is really thinking about the scope. So spend time thinking about your research question. What do I need to know? How big can I go with this project? So this is why I always say that it's a bit of backwards and forwards with your research. Do a bit of planning, do a bit of reading, backwards and forwards, making mind maps so you can see where the gaps are and define the scope of how much research you're going to be doing, because it's very easy to just be put off by the writing and do lots and lots of research. So, books don't include the latest research. So what you'll find is with a book, very often they can be written by just one person, so it's just that one person's point of view that you're getting at, which is fine maybe, but reading an entire book by that one person might not be the best use of your time. And they won't include the latest research because it takes a long time, years, for a book from time of writing to publication to actually appear on your shelves. But they can then provide often sort of the classic research that you might be looking for, so things that are very well known in your field. But even then, with any kind of undergraduate essay, you wouldn't be expected to be reading whole books. Chaptered books could be quite useful, because then you find lots of different articles and different opinions by different people on the same subject area. But using the internet is quite important. And you will be expected to use journal articles if you haven't used them before in your assignments, especially in your second and third year and for your dissertation. So again, you might decide to use catalogues, databases, but the internet is Google Scholar is your friend when you want to find peer-reviewed journals. So peer-reviewed journals are important when you think about are they written by scholarly academics, or is it just some random person who's decided to write a book? Like Wikipedia, anybody can put anything on Wikipedia and say that it's true. That doesn't mean that it actually is. So if you Google something, you're going to get a lot of non-credible results, whereas if you use Google Scholar, then what you're getting is peer-reviewed journals and books, which means essentially when you write a journal article, it goes to a panel of people that analyse it and say, yes, this has been conducted in an ethical and rigorous manner. It's worthy of to be released to the general academic community, so you can use those when you're referencing in your assignments. So, Google versus databases. Google, so the process. So we're talking about just normal Google here. It's free, it's quick, and it's easy to access. Databases often require a subscription, but obviously you've got free access to the university's databases, so you can use them freely. Google there's a lot of irrelevant material on there if you Google something, although sort of the things that pop up right away sometimes are relevant, but sometimes you have to often sort of work harder using your keyword searches to find exactly what it is you want and cross-referencing different words. Just as I was mentioned before, obviously there's the issue of this quality here. So databases select material based on quality, so they are peer-reviewed articles and chapters, whereas Google won't do that. They'll just put up Wikipedia and .com websites where, as I said, anybody who hasn't got any credentials can write on there. And the search capability is limited, so it is, in terms of general Google, all you can do is write in a couple of keywords and that's it, whereas with databases you can refine your search more by looking for particular dates and times, by looking in particular journal articles, so it's more refined in that manner. But Google Scholar is slightly different. So you don't have the con of Google in the Google Scholar searches credible journal articles, so it's just as good as databases there. You can also be more refined in your search, so you can search for things that have only been published in the last 10 years. You can search within text as well, so that you can find, you've got a search result and you can search within that search result too. So it's a much better, more sophisticated research repository. You could, there is a video that we've recorded that I'll upload to this same area on specifically on using Google Scholar for research and some of the tips and tricks and tools that actually offers you. In terms of databases, I think any librarian will say to you that you'll often get a better quality set of results from databases. I'm not sure whether I agree with that myself. The thing with Google Scholar is that you don't always have access to the results. So if you search the databases from within the university, once you're signed in, you're using your Kingston Shibboleth password, you know that what your search results are, you've got access to them. But Google Scholar will give you all the search results there possibly are, even though the university might not subscribe to that journal. So then you'd have to get to the point where you either have to pay for a journal article to see it, or you can request it from the interlibrary loan service that the university does. And as undergraduate students, you're allowed to have a few of those each year. As postgraduate students, you can have much more of them. And in your third year, I believe you're allowed even more, because in your third year of undergraduate, because you're doing a dissertation. So I think it's probably better to see the breadth of the articles out there, even though you can't get access to them, because you'll find sometimes actually that you can get them on interlibrary loans, but also sometimes they're available as free PDFs anyway. So do have a look at that video that shows you how to use Google Scholar, because it helps you get around. It will show you how to get around all those problems. Okay, so some tips for searching now. So starting with truncation. So this is where you can limit a word to its root and type. So example here, we've got dance. So rather than just writing dancing, in which case if you search for dance, it won't look for dances, dancer, dancers, dancing, danced. What you can do is put in D-A-N-C and then a little asterisk, and it will search all of those ones, because it just looks for everything that's starting with those letters there. Another example there is choreograph there, and it will find choreographs, choreographer, choreography. So sometimes when you're searching for journal articles and books, often you'll find that what the Google Scholar or the databases are looking for are matches, obviously, in the text. So if you're using truncation, that's quite a good way to be able to say, okay, I'm not just looking for dancing, I want to look for dancers as well. Wildcards is quite a good one too as well. So you replace a letter in a word with a question mark, and it will find both varieties of the word. So women or woman. it will help find both of them, because again it will save you doing 2 searches there, and especially when you're searching something like Google Scholar and you're looking at international journals as well. Here we've got the 2 different spellings of dramatise and dramatise, so the American and English versions, so it's a good idea to do that, because then you're sort of widening your search even further. So when you want to find phrases, which is very common, often in your research areas, you'll find lots of concepts and phrases: social cohesion, male dominance. If you just put social cohesion without those little double quotation marks in, it will look for the word social and cohesion separately. That's fine if that's what you want, and you just want to find sort of anything that says social and anything that says cohesion. It will look for both of those in the text and only show you things that have both of those words, but they won't necessarily be together. So if you specifically want to look at social cohesion or male dominance as concepts in their own right, then put them in the double quotation marks, and it will look for those 2 linking words together. So synonyms are very important when you're doing your research as well. As I mentioned before, the different researchers use different words for different concepts. I think when you're looking at things like say anxiety, then you might need to look at all the words that may be for anxiety. If you're looking for something to do with self-esteem, then you might need to also look for things like self-confidence and sense of the self, because what you want then is you're widening your research then, so that then you can encompass lots of different areas that may be related to your subject. So if you stick to just 1 or 2 concepts and keywords and repeatedly put those in, it may just be because in your field you haven't realised it, but actually everyone calls it social awareness rather than social self-esteem. So you need to be aware of those things in your subject area, and you will build up knowledge of that in your field as you go throughout your research anyway. But consider using a thesaurus for finding synonyms for your keywords. So that's a little more simple than thinking about the different names for concepts. But as an example up here, we've got exercise. We might be interested in exercise and diet. If we put exercise and diet in there, we're limiting our research to only those articles that use the term exercise and diet. Actually, what we might be looking for is sport and nutrition, or activity and training and nutrition, or terming those with diet as well. So that way then you're expanding your research and just thinking about what are the different ways that somebody might be looking at this here. So in here we've got the same one as well. We've got women might be called like a lady or female. Female is often used in academic work as well because it's seen as the more biological term. So make sure that you are being sort of smart with your keywords that you're using, and try different ones, and never think that you can type in your essay question to Google and something's going to pop up. You'll never be able to find anything that way. All it will do is become frustrated because it will just list a huge list of random things. Okay, so here a little bit about your search strategy when you're looking at the words and or. So you might want to look at and words, so you're retrieving records containing both terms. So as I said up there, we've got social and cohesion, but you could also be looking at it by looking with either or both terms. Okay, so here we've got the diagrams here where we're looking at A and B separately, or we're saying we're happy to look at A and B separately, but we also want to see them together as well. And this is where you can make the decision to put in social cohesion. It might be a good idea, like in the sort of quotation marks, it might be a good idea to split that apart as well, because you can then see that maybe some people don't call it social cohesion, maybe they call it group cohesion, and in which case if you only search for social cohesion in inverted commas, then you're not getting that other body of research that talks about group cohesion, for example. So you will probably find you will always have too many search results. If you look at the search results for anything you type in Google Scholar, it always runs into the hundreds of thousands. Generally you'll find the ones on the first few pages are the ones that have the most hits in terms of relevant words related to your subject area. But with Google Scholar you can search within those as well. You could limit it to the time and say, well actually I'm interested in this area, but I only want things that have been published in the last 5 years or so, so you're looking at very classic and very, very current research. If you find a few pieces that you think are good for your subject area, then you can look to see on Google Scholar who has cited them, so who's referenced those, because they're probably going to be related to the same area. But you could also look at, well, who are they referencing in their bibliographies as well. So I always think it's a good idea to start off with something like Google Scholar or a database to try and find generally what's out there, but actually what you're really looking for is a couple of key articles or chapters that then can unlock the key to go and then sort of in a spider web form go out and search for other journal articles and chapters by letting everyone else do the work for you. If they've got a bibliography there, then use that bibliography and see what they've done. If other people are citing these people, then they're probably related to that subject area, so you might be interested in their work as well. So too few results, leave out terms. So this is why I say don't put in sort of your essay question. You'll have too many terms in there and they won't be able to match that many. So just a couple of keywords, looking at alternatives or synonyms. Try Google Scholar as an overall catch-all database if you're finding your university databases aren't working. But as I said already, using the references from papers you already have is quite important. You might want to set up search alerts. If you're doing a long-term project, then either on the journal host web pages like Science Direct, where you might go and you've got your journals that are hosted on there. You can find journal articles on there. You can do it on Google Scholar as well. Say you found a journal article that is key to your subject area. If you type in your name and address, if you register for these things, it will send you an email when somebody else has published something new that cites that journal article. So as you're doing your research, you'll continually be getting updated with other people that have cited that research article, because what you'll find is in any subject area that there are a few pioneering people where they've done a piece of research that everybody cites when they're writing something related to it, because it's a defining journal article. So that's what you want to find, and it's useful when you're doing longer term research projects. It saves time. You don't have to continually be looking for the same research every sort of couple of months or so, and it shows that you're really thinking about that new pioneering research that's coming out.